There are filmmakers whose projects feel like mandatory viewing, and I think it's safe to say that Nolan is one of them. I mean, next to the word thought-provoking in the dictionary is Christopher Nolan's movies. Just think back to the time that you finished the movie Inception. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out what went on in Tenet. Chris's projects have always had a unique feel based in practical effects, along with some seriously talented actors that bring his visions to life. So to help make the case for Nolan, whose latest, Oppenheimer, has finally hit theaters, here's a list of his best movies by Tomato Meter, right now on Rotten Tomatoes Countdown. Starting with number 10, Interstellar. This 2014 certified fresh film was directed, co-written, and produced by Christopher Nolan, which are the same roles that he pretty much has on every single film he does. It's set in a dystopian future where a group of astronauts travel through a wormhole in search of a new home for humanity. I mean, can I come? Get me out of here. The film features huge names like Matthew McConaughey, Anne Hathaway, Matt Damon, and Jessica Chastain. But what really resonated with fans were these stellar visuals brought to life by Nolan. I mean, it feels like they actually shot this in space.
I repeat, do not open the inner hatch. I repeat, do not
Rand?
open.
I don't know what he said to you, but I am taking command of the Endurance. And then we can talk about completing the mission.
Dr. Mann, listen to me.
This is not about my life or Cooper's life. This is about all mankind. There is a moment.
It is nuts.
And that's a big reason why it made over $677 million at the global box office and has picked up a bit of a sci-fi cult following. Plus, it received 5 Oscar noms, winning one for Best Visual Effects, obviously. Number 9, The Prestige. 2006 was actually a big year for movies about magic and magicians, pretty randomly. And that included this mystery drama based on the 1995 novel of the same name by Christopher Priest. Now, Nolan wrote this film with his brother Jonathan Nolan, and it follows 2 19th century magicians in a battle for supremacy, played by Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman. The film reunited Nolan with Christian Bale after making Batman Begins together the previous year, and let's just say it was definitely a change of pace for both of them.
Shoot me.
Shoot you.
Go on, shoot me. Right there.
No, I can't.
No, not there. Shoot me here. Oh! How's that?
It's very good. Tell me how you do it.
No, I can't do that.
Well, then you can't do it. Alfred's...
I can't do it.
And while it's certified fresh, 76% tomato meter score is solid, a 92% audience score is really where it's at. I mean, the people have spoken. Number 8, Batman Begins. Directed by, you guessed it, Christopher Nolan, who co-wrote it with David S. Goyer, this served as a reboot for the Batman film series, coming less than a decade after George Clooney donned the nipple cape in Batman and Robin. I mean, I'm gonna get dragged for saying this, but Nipple Suit Batman is one of my favorites, and I gotta say, Clooney really did make a great Bruce Wayne. But back to Batman Begins. Nolan was aiming for a darker, more realistic tone to get the audience more invested in both the Batman and Bruce Wayne characters. He also wanted to tell an origin story that no one had ever really seen before, which included a look at Batman's actual training. And it turns out Bruce Wayne wasn't just some rich guy taking a bunch of karate classes.
Anger does not change the fact that your father failed to act.
The man had a gun.
Would that stop you?
I've had training.
The training is nothing. The will is everything. The will to act. Yield.
In true Nolan fashion, but somewhat unorthodox for big budget superhero movies, was his reliance on traditional stunts and miniature effects and less on CGI. And hey, it worked. I mean, as evidenced by a strong box office showing and an Oscar nom for Best Cinematography. Not to mention, it kicked off one hell of a popular trilogy. Number 7, Inception. Now, this one was written and directed by Christopher Nolan, who also produced it along with his wife, Emma Thomas. And I just love how much he loves to work with his family. Now, this is actually somewhat inspiring. Nolan actually first wrote a script around this concept back in 2002 after he completed Insomnia, but later realized that he needed more big-budget features under his belt before he could tackle this one. And when the time finally came, he tapped Leonardo DiCaprio to play the lead after wanting to work with him for some time. DiCaprio, of course, came on board because he was interested in the concept, and Nolan actually worked on tweaking the script to make sure Leo's character and his emotional journey were the driving force, along with, you know, the crazy visuals.
So how did we end up here?
Well, we just came from the,
Think about it, Ariadne. How did you get here? Where are you right now?
We're dreaming?
You're actually in the middle of the workshop right now, sleeping. This is your first lesson in shared dreaming. Stay calm.
Now, along with Leo is another strong cast with names like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Marion Cotillard, Elliot Page, Tom Hardy, and Cillian Murphy, many of whom Nolan has worked with repeatedly. And you may already know this, but Inception crushed it at the box office with over $828 million worldwide, good enough for the fourth highest grossing film of 2010. It also happened to earn 8 Oscar nominations, including one for Best Picture, and took home 4, including Best Cinematography and Best Visual Effects. I mean, with Leo as a star, it gets my Best Visuals award. Moving on. Number 6, The Dark Knight Rises. Now, this film marks the final installment in Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, and it takes place 8 years after the events of The Dark Knight, while introducing the villain Bane, played by none other than Tom Hardy. Back for a third installment didn't actually excite Christopher Nolan all that much at first. He was like, come on, guys. I'm just kidding. Until he and his co-writer / brother, Jonathan Nolan, came up with what they would consider to be a suitable end to the series. And Nolan actually pulled from various comic book storylines for this movie, including Bane's debut in 1993's Nightfall storyline. And I gotta say, one thing is for sure, Batman definitely met his match with Bane.
Oh, you think darkness is your ally? You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man. By then it was nothing to me but blinding. The shadows betray you because they belong to me.
The Certified Fresh film also has an audience score at 90%, and the consensus from critics reads that The Dark Knight Rises, quote, concludes Nolan's franchise in spectacular fashion. Let's take a look at our list so far of the best Christopher Nolan movies. Can you wrap your mind around which film is in our number 1 spot? Number 5, Insomnia. This marked the third feature-length film for director Christopher Nolan, and the only one of his career so far that he isn't credited as writer or co-writer, with that honor going to Hilary Seitz for this one. Insomnia is a remake of a 1997 Norwegian movie of the same name, with this version starring Al Pacino, Robin Williams, and Hilary Swank. And it follows 2 LA homicide detectives investigating a murder in Alaska. And I gotta say, I am a sucker for a Pacino interrogation on screen.
Randy. This whole thing you're doing, this the world act. Now that might work with your mama. It might even work with a couple of these local cops who've known you long enough to figure you're too dumb ever to kill anyone without leaving a couple of witnesses and a signed confession. Ain't gonna work with me.
Number 4, Dunkirk. This 2017 film was written, directed, and produced by Nolan and depicts the Dunkirk evacuation of World War II from the perspectives of sea, land, and air. Nolan and his team created most of the suspense with music and cinematography, finding a way to put IMAX cameras on the wings of planes and do it safely. They also dressed up a 2-seater jet called a Yak 52, which is my new favorite name for anything, to look like the single-seater Spitfire, but with room for a camera to film the pilot in action. But enough mumbo-jumbo from me. I mean, check out this clip.
He's going down! Cut her loose! What about the wounded? Cut her loose and push her off! We can't let her sink at the low! Push that bloody murder!
no wonder Dunkirk was such a slam dunk at the Oscars, picking up 8 nominations, including Best Picture and Best Director, and taking home 3 statues for Best Sound Editing, Sound Mixing, and Film Editing. And it includes an appearance from the Harry Styles, therefore getting another Visuals Award from me. Okay, number 3, Memento. This neo-noir psychological thriller was written and directed by Nolan and based on the short story Memento Mori by his brother Jonathan Nolan. And I bet he was all like, cool story, bro. No, seriously, let's make a movie about this. Now, in it, Guy Pearce stars as a man trying to hunt down his wife's killer while suffering from short-term memory loss. So he uses an elaborate system of tattoos, written notes, and Polaroid photos.
Teddy, don't believe his lies. He is the one. Kill him. I finally found him. How long have I been looking?
Find anything? Didn't think so. Let's go, huh? Oh, this.
You're gonna pay for what you did. Beg forgiveness, and then you pay.
You don't have a clue, you freak.
Beg my wife's forgiveness before I blow your brains out.
The unique story and approach to telling it quickly landed Christopher Nolan on the map in just his second film. I mean, the 94% audience score is a testament to the cult following this film has built over the years, and its certified fresh 93% tomato meter score is backed by a consensus that says, quote, Nolan skillfully guides the audience through Memento's fractured narrative, seeping his film in existential dread. Chris, if you need any more existential dread, I got plenty more where that came from. Number 2, The Dark Knight. No surprise here, this film is the second installment of Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy, following 2005's Batman Begins, and some of Nolan's inspirations for this film included the Joker's comic book debut in 1940 and the 1988 graphic novel The Killing Joke. And we all know that one of the main reasons this movie stands above the rest, both other Nolan Batman films and beyond, is the late Heath Ledger as the Joker.
Where's the end? Those mob fools want you gone so they can get back to the way things were. But I know the truth. There's no going back. You've changed things. Forever.
Then why do you want to kill me?
I don't want to kill you. What would I do without you? Go back to ripping off mob dealers? No, you complete me.
Ledger actually died a few months after he completed filming and 6 months before the movie's release, but was posthumously awarded a Best Supporting Actor Oscar for his performance. The Dark Knight became the highest grossing film of 2008 with over $1 billion earned, and also tallied 8 Oscar nominations, winning one for Best Sound Editing. Plus, it was selected for preservation in the National Film Registry as just the second superhero film to earn that honor after 1978's Superman. I mean, how cool is that? Number 1, Oppenheimer. Now, once again, written, produced, and directed by the trifecta that is Christopher Nolan, this film stars Cillian Murphy as J. Robert Oppenheimer, a theoretical physicist who is considered to be the father of the atomic bomb. The star-studded cast also includes folks like Emily Blunt, Matt Damon, Rami Malek, Robert Downey Jr., Josh Hartnett, Casey Affleck, and Kenneth Branagh in supporting roles. I mean, enough stars to form a galaxy. I don't know if that makes sense, but it sounds right in my head.
We imagine a future. And our imaginings horrify us. They won't fear it until they understand it. Then they won't understand it until they've used it.
Now, Oppenheimer is based on a 2005 biography called American Prometheus, and Nolan actually wrote the script in first person, something he's never done before, to try and put people in Oppenheimer's shoes. Because of this film, Chris actually became one of the first directors to dabble in IMAX black and white photography for this film, to help add to the overall effect. I mean, he loves to experiment, and we love to watch it. All right, my friends, that is Nolan's list. Now let's all go try and live our lives with a little less CGI and a little more practicality. For more on all these movies that we discussed today, be sure to hit up RottenTomatoes.com. Thank you so much for checking out today's list. Until next time, I am your host, Naz Perez, and we'll see you back here for more Rotten Tomatoes Countdown.